Welcome back to another episode in recovery for Miss Jennifer of A Guide to Poor Parenting, a podcast with me, Jason.
And me, Jennifer.
Have a few drinks.
And talk shit about our kids.
Please follow us on Instagram at Guide to Poor Parenting and Twitter/X/Facebook at Poor Parent Pod.
Yes, please do.
Please do. We are trying to post all the time.
It's not working, but we're trying.
We're trying to do our best. I did tell Jennifer, so this is our 24th episode in season 3. We have 2 more episodes till the season's done, and then we'll start season 4 in about 2 or 3 weeks after season 3 finishes. But I told Jennifer I want to start doing some TikToks, and we've got some guests coming up that we're going to record remotely for season 4. So we're going to hopefully post some videos and clips and stuff, so you'll see us more. You'll see this on TikTok, hopefully.
I'll be in glasses and a hat to try to hide as much of my face.
Beautiful as ever. But I, for all our 15 listeners out there, thank you for coming back. I was going to tell Jennifer, I was thinking that the thing that I think would be cool is if we went back through our catalog and re-recorded our story times, and then posted those.
On the TikToks?
On the TikToks and Instagram Reels. But also, every time we record an episode, we do a video drink. Okay. Even if we just say it's crap, but...
So it'd be really short.
Yeah, it's whatever. Okay. 30-second video.
You don't want like 15 minutes on a drink, right?
I don't know that I could talk. I don't think I could... I
mean, I could bullshit my way through 15 minutes.
I could wax poetically, but I think a minute would be pushing it for me.
Yeah.
I think a 30-second video of us saying... it's crap, or it's pretty good, or it's
I really like it.
Yeah, or it was one of our favorites. It's not the first bottle of the wine for the night. It's like the end of the night when you're all a little drunk. Yeah. So please be looking out for that for season 4. We're getting excited. Been lining up guests for season 4. I forgot 4 remote ones because we're finally gonna get Feej on. Okay. And we actually might have to split that in 2 because he's just got so many goddamn stories.
I figured curry.
Yeah. Be like, you're coming back every season for the first episode. And then we've got 2 locals from Shenanigans that I volunteered with. And then 2, I think Shayna, Zane's sister, and Zane's dad and stepmom.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. If we have enough... The biggest fear I always have for the podcast is finding enough people to do it, to do the interviews. So I've been limiting us to 8 interviews for every 2 solo interviews, God bless.
Words.
2 interviews that Jennifer, for every 1 interview that Jennifer and I do, we do 2 solo episodes. Right. It's just us bitching about our kids. Yep.
But then you worry about, are we going to have enough to
talk about
topics? Yeah. That we can do to talk 2 times.
Yeah. Because a lot of times we're struggling. Yep. And half the time we're like, well, we said what we were going to say. What happened to you and your... Anyway. For our loyal listeners, you know the bullshit we go through. Yeah. And we appreciate you. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it was... I keep thinking now that we have we actually have 56 episodes published. Wow. And since we have such a, good-sized catalog, frankly, I'm very proud of us for that. Definitely. If we might actually start thinking about doing a Patreon where people could send in their own stories, or I don't know what we would do. I don't know how. I've never paid for like a podcast Patreon. Yeah. So
usually it's like extra stories, merch. They'll send them buttons or things like that. They usually get extra stories is from the ones that I listen to because I like the crime ones. So they always get.
Have you ever paid for a Patreon?
No.
No. Okay.
No, but they tell you like, well, for our Patreon people, you're going to get this story, and that's.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I will say I've been having the artwork redone recently, and it's all finished.
Reimagined.
It looks great.
It does.
And one of the logos she came up with is a great T-shirt. So we might have merch available eventually. I think if our trajectory for season 4 keeps going up, because I was showing Jennifer our statistics, and we are kind of on an upward climb. Not like it's not it's not skyrocketing, but it's organic, and we're doing great. And I was like, if we're averaging a good amount of downloads per month by the end of season 4, like if we're still on that upward spike, I will probably pay someone to do our website. I'll finally incorporate us as we'll be a company. We'll be real podcasters, real podcastresses.
Yeah, you will be. I won't.
Your talent.
I just sit here and drink and talk.
You have the best shit to talk to you too.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, how's your week been? Oh, was that where we? Yeah,
that's where we are.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know how your week's been. Why don't you tell our listening audience how your awful week's been?
Well, I went.
Go back 2 weeks because Zane had to fill in for you last week because we weren't able to record last week.
Oh.
So yeah, they don't know about Wesley getting kicked out.
Well, this week went back to the foot doctor. I got 2 more weeks on the boot. I can't bend my toes, and I can wiggle them a little bit. It's really weird feeling not to be able to bend the toes.
And that asshole called you a wussy.
The doctor called because he was like, "How are you doing?" I was like, "It hurts," and he's like, "Are you a wussy?" And I didn't say that, but I thought that, and then I was like, "No, I'm pretty sure I'm not."
I'm going to say you should have told him I'm not even taking the pain medication you're giving me. So no, I'm not a fucking wussy, asshole.
Yeah. But so last week I went to go pick up Wesley on Friday. So luckily, I guess it was on a Friday. And I guess like one of the coaches had come out and he had a piece of paper in his hand. And whenever they have a piece of paper, not good. And he was shaking. He was like, Wesley, he's suspended for the rest of the school year. And he was like, we can maybe try summer, but he's definitely not going to come back to school.
Damn.
It's like, okay. It's like he's just disrespectful and talking back, and I just can't take it no more. It's like, I feel you. I understand. And so, Wesley's in the car, and he's like trying to tell me, and I'm like, I don't want to.
But Mom.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not going to believe you with whatever you're going to tell me anyways, and I'm upset now. Because what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
We have April and May to go. Like, the fuck. Either they're all full, they have, their kid allotment, and it's like, shit. And then trying to find someone. Like, are they going to call Boys and Girls Club? Like, why did you guys, well, he got kicked. Well, we don't want a disrespectful little shit. Like, So I just had a whole bunch of shit going through my brain. And I was like, I don't want to. Well, he told Justin that he was going to talk to a girl. And they got mad at him for talking to a girl. I was like, yeah, right. Nope. No one's going to shake like that dude was shaking over a fucking conversation with a girl.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I asked my brother, who I love dearly.
Thank you, Patrick.
Until I can find something, would you mind picking him up at 2:30 and just staying with him at the house until I get off? My brother's like, yeah, that's fine. And he did it for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday because Monday I had my doctor's appointment and we just didn't have... he didn't have the placard to go pick him up.
Right.
So I had just asked you to do it. And then Tuesday, they got off at 11:30 for inclement weather, and it didn't even rain at my fucking house. Yeah, I still have pollen all over my car.
It barely sprinkled here.
So mad about that. So Friday, when I got home, I asked Patrick, I was like, hey, so you think you could do another week? And he was like, yeah, I think I'll just do it for the rest of the school. Thank you so much. Please give me a week notice if you decide not to, because I know how he is, and
I will say it'll probably be easier for Patrick just because he's alone. No other kids to fight with. No, it's always the other kids that seem to get him in trouble. Right.
Well, but it's hard for Patrick because he's alone and he's grounded.
Yeah.
I told him no electronics for the rest of the school year. He thinks that's too much. That no other kid has ever been grounded for how long that he's been grounded. He told me that last night, and I'm like, you got kicked out of after school. You have been suspended from after school for like 3 or 4 times now. We just started this after school this year. You haven't even been going the whole year because you were at Alphabest for like the first month. So yeah, you're grounded. Well, that's too long. No other kid has ever had to deal with what I have to deal with, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? I ain't listening to this. But Wednesday, Thursday, and Wednesday and Thursday when Patrick had him, I get home and he's like, oh, he's been good. He's been quiet in his room. So I'm kind of skeptical about that. Like, okay. Friday, I get a message from the teacher. Wesley's going to have to keep his laptop at school from now on. He can't take it home with him anymore. He's been asking for loaners, and he said he left it at the Boys. And I was like, oh, well, that's funny because he hasn't been to the Boys and Girls Club for a week because he got kicked out. So at lunch, I go home, and guess what? I find an old iPad underneath his bed and his laptop. So that is why he's been good for Patrick and been quiet, because he's been playing on his laptop. And then, of course, when I tell him to go to bed, he's playing on the laptop. And he's a complete asshole. So, grr. So I messaged Patrick on Friday. I'm like, yeah, he won't be so quiet today because he's been playing on his laptop. And so I sent a paragraph to my brother, and he responds with, okay. I'm like, okay. So I get home Friday, and Patrick is sitting on the front porch, and Wesley has been finding things outside to break apart and try to build something. And so he's just been, kind of
bored,
yeah. And okay, whatever.
And we're pretty sure that the iPad is something he stole out of my office.
Yeah. Yeah, he wouldn't tell me where he got it from.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, because I had bought it for Glea's piano lessons, because it was just I just needed something, an old piece of shit that would run this one app.
Yeah.
It was $20, so I didn't really care. And I hadn't used it in forever. So it's also locked, so no way you can get into it, but yeah.
So that must be what it was. But yeah, so he's, and then he is like, you went in my room and you took my stuff. And I'm like, well, I went into a room in my house that is not your room. It's my room, technically. And I took the school's property back that you're not supposed to be on. And, he's still like, you did bad. Da, da, da. I'm like, yeah, okay. Where's my Coke? Oh, I took that when you took my computer. Yeah. You're not supposed to be having.
Because they'll have it at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, and I put 2 in the fridge. So that way, because I can't put more.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get a fridge for my fucking room now. I can't keep anything in my house.
Nope.
That's not in my room because he just takes everything.
Gwen had the same problem. I remember her despairing because the boys would just go into her room and steal everything.
It just doesn't make, it just makes me so mad. And double standards. You take my shit all the fucking time. But I go in your room, quote unquote, because it's my room, and get a laptop that you're not supposed to have, and it's the end of the fucking world.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Yeah, it's just him justifying it to himself, but it's annoying as fuck.
It is very annoying. God. How's your week been? Let me stop talking about that.
It's been okay. Last weekend, Kiki surprised us by coming up, and that's why Jennifer and I weren't able to record, because she actually called me yesterday. I was like, oh, I'm going to come up for Justin's birthday dinner on Sunday. I was like, that's fine, but just do it in the afternoon, later in the afternoon, so Jennifer and I can record, because as soon as she gets here, we've got 2 toddlers running amok, and it's loud as hell, because Kalia did not fall far from that tree, because God bless, they are 2 loud young ladies.
Yep. And they'd be wanting to talk into the microphones, and they would. So we
weren't able to record. So Monday night came around. I was like, Zane, I got to get something out, otherwise we're going to break our streak. So just record something with me. And we were, I don't know if you saw it, but it was about the lies we tell our kids about Santa Claus and.
Oh, okay.
So, but Zane and I were both like. He told the story about him stealing his sister's tooth fairy money.
Oh, okay.
I think you've told that story, right? His dad put a 20 under her pillow for the tooth fairy, and Zane got pissed off, so he stole the 20 and put $2 in quarters under her pillow.
No, I've never heard that one. That's funny.
Yeah. Let's see. Kalia's been pretty good. Justin's been incredibly stressed out. His girlfriend is 5-6 months pregnant now, and she lost her job. Apparently she called out a lot because she was having dizzy or not feeling good from the pregnancy. She called out a lot.
Right.
And got fired for it.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she'd asked me if she could sue, and I was like, I don't know. I'm not an expert. You could talk to a lawyer, but I was like, I know you're a protected class being a pregnant person, but it's like when you call out a bunch, it's kind of hard to justify it.
Yeah.
So Justin's been mad at her because she's like, you need to, because they'd probably need to break their lease, because their apartment rent is $1,400 a month.
They live somewhere fancy.
Yep. And he was asking me, he's like, what's your mortgage? I was like, less than your rent.
Mine is way less.
Yeah. And I told him, I was like, our old house was like half of your rent. Yeah. Because it was just, admittedly it was cheap too. And I had got a good interest rate. But yeah, I told him, I was like, I wish you two had waited a little bit on the baby. Because I was like, if you had been on that job a year and been stable, I would have helped y'all buy a house. Mm-hmm. But we can't do that now.
No.
So they're probably going to break the lease, I hope. At least look into it and hopefully get something cheaper.
Yeah.
So I told them EJ's apartment complex is pretty cheap too. And there's one around the corner from us. It's like even a 3-bedroom apartment is cheaper than their 2-bedroom. So yeah, we'll see.
And they just need a 2-bedroom.
Yeah. I agree.
Or a 1-bedroom for 1 year.
Yeah.
Because a baby can just sleep in a bassinet. You know,
I did warn Zane. I was like, we might have them moving back in. It's like, he didn't seem upset by it, so he seemed receptive to it, and I'd be okay with it for at least a little while.
Right.
I was
until that newborn's in the house, you're like, no, you got to go. I can't deal with the baby screaming all the time.
Newborn. Well, I probably would be because they're on the other side of the house from us.
Yeah, but your office is.
Yeah, but I've offered to watch the newborn for them too.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem I ever had is once that baby starts walking.
Oh yeah.
Like, you need to be out.
Yeah.
It was like they get destructive, and I don't want to have to baby roof this house every time. Kiki and brings up the babies. It's just like hell because they will pull off. We haven't done a great job baby proofing the house, but they will pull off anything off the shelves, get in, rip everything up. And I'm like, oh,
they
God.
Put cat food in the water of the cat's bowls. Yeah.
They open up the salt shaker and dump it on the floor.
Yep.
They get into the kitty litter box and make snow angels.
Yep. I love that story.
So, yeah. I would be okay as long as the baby's not walking.
They come up with things that you can't even think to, baby-proof for.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought the baby would go into the litter? It smells. I
agree. So, yeah. Like I said, I would be okay if they moved back for a little while.
Yeah. Just to help them get on their feet.
Yeah. But I wouldn't leave.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I love them. Well, and they need to make up their mind soon because, I really want to convert that Justin's old bedroom to our recording studio for the podcast. So, even if Kiki does come up with the babies, we have a quiet place to go to and we can get away from them.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know about quiet.
Yeah, we'll see. I might put soundproofing up to
there you go.
Help.
We might be having to do this podcast at my house. Oh, Lord. Can you imagine?
With your dogs barking in the background?
Well, we can just put them outside.
So, yeah, my week's been good but uneventful. Although Justin did blow up at his sister the other day. She apparently, I did her taxes for her, and she got a pretty good return. And she's already gone through most of it. Did some financial decisions I think are not the smartest, but it's also like...
You're not going to say anything because...
Yeah, it's just not my place. Yeah. She's a 26-year-old woman. It's like, damn it, girl.
Yeah.
It was like, just ask me for advice and I'll give it to you.
But she doesn't want it.
I know. Whatever.
She knew what she was doing, I think.
Agreed. Well... She has an idea of what she's doing.
Yeah.
I don't think she thinks out the consequences super well.
Right.
But that's okay. I still love her. I still love both my babies.
Mm-hmm.
And funny coincidence, I was volunteering at Shenanigans last night. So to all our, Tara, thanks for listening to our podcast.
Hello, Tara.
We hope to have you on for season 4.
Yes.
But I was volunteering last night and I realized Jessica, one of the co-owners of Shenanigans, was talking about how she used to teach at Columbia and how god awful it was.
It's a high school here in Huntsville.
Yep. And I was like, when did you teach there? She's like, about 2016 to 2020. I'm like, you were there with Justin. And she's like, what's his last name? And I told him, and I told her, and she's like, yep, he was one of mine. I was like, well, she's like, did he have an IEP? And I was like, yes. And she was like, yep, he was one of mine. So I took a picture of her. I was like, do you remember her? And he's like, yeah.
She's been on our podcast.
So it was funny.
That is funny.
Small world.
It is.
All right, so now we know how our week's been. But Jennifer, what are we drinking?
We are drinking, I'm going to mess this up, I think, Tozai?
Tozai? I don't know.
Tozai, quote-unquote living jewel. Maybe that's what Tozai means. Sake.
Yeah.
Sake. Sake.
We were going to do this and we were going to do this with sushi, but we literally had sushi 2 hours ago, and well, she did. I didn't have any.
Yeah. But you had a couple.
Oh yeah, I did have a couple pieces. Yeah.
But I couldn't eat it again because I didn't finish my whole roll because it was a lot.
Yeah. So what do you think about this sake, Miss Jennifer?
I don't mind it. There's not too much flavor to it. It's kind of just, I don't want to say it's watery because it doesn't taste like water, but I guess because it doesn't have a flavor to it, it's just kind of.
I would say it's watery. I mean, it kind of reminds me. It reminds me of the soju. It's like it has a faint flavor, and I can taste the rice a little bit.
Yeah,
like a graininess, I think, but it doesn't really have a flavor to it. It's good, I guess, but it's like drinking alcoholic water, frankly.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. Because I didn't want to say like it's watery, like in because sometimes you have it's water and it's just nasty.
Well, usually water is like you've watered down the original taste, but the taste is water, frankly.
Right. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I don't taste much of anything, so it was good though.
Yeah, and it has a high alcohol content.
Yeah, about 15%.
If anybody likes that and doesn't really want a lot of like bam in your face alcohol taste, this is perfect for you because you can't taste alcohol.
Nope. I will say if you were to mix this with like a fruit juice, it'd probably be pretty good too. Like just give a little more of a somewhat of a flavor.
I could see that.
But it's not bad.
Not bad at all.
I don't regret it.
No.
I'm starting to feel it a little bit.
Oh, are you?
Well, I'm just lightweight.
No, that is very true.
Which is funny because Jennifer is 6 foot tall, thin now because she hardly ever eats anymore.
Oh, but I lost my booty and I'm sad about that.
Still got the boobies though.
Yep. Still got the boobies. I haven't lost them.
But you can like drink like a sailor and not feel it. I will have a glass and a half of wine and I'm like, woo,
look at me, I'm showing my boobs off.
Yes. And if we ever get Tara on the podcast, she said she's like that too. She apparently did the drink package on a cruise and was drank her money's worth and never felt drunk.
Oh wow.
And her daughter had like 1.5 and was tipsy. So it's like, yep. You sound like Jennifer.
Yep.
So.
Like her already.
Yes, ma'am. So what are we talking about today, Miss Jennifer?
Well, we are talking about resentment. Yeah.
I mean, Jennifer and I were going to lunch. We were she was just kind of like telling me about how bad Wesley's been. I was like, it's hard not to resent your kids sometimes. Mm-hmm. Especially when they're like really struggling to just, when you're struggling not to kill them. So, and Jennifer, we both said this. It's like sometimes we hate the kids and it's hard to say. And Jennifer's like, well, no one in our support group says it. It's like, yeah, I think they don't say it because they don't want to look bad in front of the other parents. But it's true. It's like sometimes you just really fucking hate them.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't want to. I don't think anybody ever wants to hate somebody. But it's just like, it's the pushing the buttons. He came to my house at 8 years old knowing what fucking button. Now, needless to say, he did not always push said buttons. I'd say maybe once every 6 months. Mm-hmm. Especially when I got close to being adopted and where he was pushing all the buttons because he had already been told he was going to get adopted and then dropped off at DHR. Right. So I understood at that time why. I have no fucking idea why now. And I've been told by many people, 6th through 8th grade, fucking sucks. They're like, your kid is a stranger, a demon. They had all kinds of adjectives for their child.
Yep.
And I agree.
Yeah, every time we go to support group, we meet another family, or we'll hear a family that we've known for a while. And they're like, oh yeah, our middle school was awful. Like I know the cops in my neighborhood because they were constantly stealing or running away or doing whatever. So you're not alone in this.
I know I'm not, but I'm also
very much alone in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm alone in the house with this.
You're not unique in this, but you are alone dealing with this, and it's hard as hell.
Yes. Very.
Yeah. I will say I haven't had, like, the only 2 times I've resented our kids is was about school with Justin, because we fought with him a bit on that. But at the same time, it was like we got him at 17 and he could have dropped out. Yeah. Almost immediately, and I was really trying to get him to not, but he kept fighting us on it and just making dumb choices. And it was like, you're making these bad choices and you don't know how to stop them. Yeah. And you're like, fuck, would you listen to us, you dumbass? Yeah. More recently with Kalia has been ingratitude. That's my biggest button to push. Yeah. So...
We'll have a story about that later.
That's my story time
about
for
that
later.
Definitely. And I don't want to hate my son. And, you hear all these coworkers, oh, my kid is so wonderful. They're doing this, and she helped me clean the house today, and I didn't even have to ask her. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. My kid got kicked out of after school. It's completely different. And I love me some true crime podcasts. Like, I listen to them all the time. I watch all of the TV. Well, I listen to most of the TV shows because most of the time I don't ever watch actual TV. It's on my phone and I have my AirPod in. But, their daughter got killed and they're like, oh my God, she was such an angel and everyone loved her and I'm going to miss her so much. And I'm just thinking to myself, what the fuck would I say?
It's like, well, he's been in a better place.
I mean, and it's not like me trying to be mean, but I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, everyone loved him and he never lied and never stole. I'm like...
Yeah, you'd probably just tell everybody he's a troubled kid.
I guess that's what it would be, yeah. He was troubled from the start.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was. Yeah.
Kind of Rocky's there.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
The Eddie. Since the day he was born.
Oh, okay.
That song.
I'm not familiar enough with that song to be like, pull it out of the air.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
You know me. I love musicals. I would be in a musical if I could. But yeah, it's just like, I wouldn't say that.
I will say, the three people I've known who've really struggled with adolescence, like what you're going through now, were my mom and Gwen, and now you. And both of them. I remember my mom during that time was just pissed off all the goddamn time, had constant headaches and migraines because she was so stressed out all the time. And they ended up sending him to boarding school because it just, like, he was failing everything and they didn't know what to do.
Does Kyle have ADHD?
Yes.
Okay.
But he won't treat it. He doesn't
that's also some 3 things that they all have in common as well.
Oh, yeah. No, ADD is a very common...
Wesley
and Matthew. And I remember Gwen, just be in tears because she just couldn't control Matthew because, the stubborn independent streak that they all have is very rampant. And it's like, you're not going to tell me what to do, and I know best.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's what drove me crazy about Justin, too. It's like, I know best. I'm like, no, you're a dumbass.
You're still a teenager. You're not going to be mature until you're 28.
30, maybe. Yeah. So, yeah. But I do think that it is very possible to feel conflicting emotions about someone.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think you're unique, but I know you're suffering through this alone, and I don't know. There's no way I don't know what else to help you with or do.
Well, and it's not that
I'm not. It's thinking you're asking for help, but I just don't there's no words of wisdom or comfort I can give you. Well, comfort I can give you.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you some wine and a place to vent.
Oh, yeah. Hello, podcast.
Hello,
this
podcast.
This is Jennifer again, and listen to me bitch about my son.
That's right.
The thing is what kills me. I'm not happy. He's not happy. I'm trying to, better myself. I ask him, what can I do to make your ass get up in the morning and not yell at me or Hulk out is what I call it, because he'll throw some chairs. He'll beat on a door. He tells me, I do what he tells me to do, and he still fucking does the bad things. Still beats on stuff, still yells at me, still throws stuff. And I'm like, I am doing what you asked me to do to get your ass up in the morning. And it's a fight every fucking morning. And his comment is, well, other kids don't like getting up in the morning. And I'm like, well, Other kids may not like it, but they still fucking do it. And I betcha they do not give their parents a hard fucking time every single morning. And for the first 2 weeks of my surgery, he's here, and you're like, oh, we had a couple bad mornings. I'm like, what the fuck?
I think a lot of it too is though, I think a lot of it's just mom, that quality of as soon as you showed up, it's that I'm going to show my ass.
Yeah. And it's making me want to say, you're going to go somewhere else.
I mean, I don't think, frankly, with him, my mom and dad had to send my brother to boarding school, and it was probably the best thing he needed at the time because they just need structure so badly. And I don't think it's something you should ever feel guilty about having to do. The only thing you should feel guilty about is how much it's going to cost you. But we did find one in South Korea for $9,000 a year, and that's going to be that's cheaper than what I have to feed him. Because that boy can eat. But yeah, I will say I do. If you want to explore something before you have to send him to South Korea, the what is the term? The private school down the road from us might be a good alternative.
Yeah, but the thing is they won't wake him up.
Oh, yeah. You still have to fight him on that.
I will still have to fight him every time he's in my house.
Yeah, true.
It's me and him.
Yeah. You need to minimize that interaction.
I think so. Well, because I don't want my son not to be happy.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely not happy right now because I grounded him until the end of the school year, which I feel like is that's not when I had him at 8 years old, Jennifer's discipline.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an adequate amount of grounding for getting kicked out of fucking after school.
Yeah, I agree.
When I told him, dude, they said last time was your last time.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
I mean, but he made it sound like no one has ever been grounded this long and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't think it's that long.
Yeah. I mean, especially since, he doesn't think of it, well, obviously because he's stupid, but he doesn't think of it in terms of how much it's going to cost you. Trying to figure out, trying to find more childcare.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't think about that at all.
Yeah. So,
I think he thought that he would just walk out of school, go to that little playground that his friends sometimes go to, hang out there until I get off work. But didn't think about cold weather, rain, because he's a kid.
Yeah.
And doesn't think past this 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, especially an ADHD kid.
Right.
Yeah. I frankly, I do think sending him to a boarding school would probably be a good for both of you, for your own
Well, for my sanity.
Yeah, but I do think it would be good for him too, because I think because he's already talking about dropping out of high school.
Yes, and that scares me.
Yeah. So if we can keep him in a boarding school up until he's 18, they might actually get him graduate. So I will say, I just found out something interesting though. I was talking to Kim. No, I was talking to Jessica last night at Shenanigans, and we were talking about Justin dropping out of high school, and she's like, "Oh, just print him a diploma." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "In Alabama, you can graduate your student as a homeschooler. You can say they've met their requirements, and if anyone, because Justin ain't ever going to go to college. I ain't worried about that. Yeah. But she said if they ever do, all you got to do is set up an email under the name of your academy or whatever.
Okay. Like the House of Jason?
Yeah, and then you just send them transcripts that you made up yourself. So,
well, hopefully no teenagers are listening to this right now, because we don't.
I seriously doubt teenagers are too old millennials or Gen Zers.
Hey, I'm not that old.
Gen Xers.
I am old, but yeah.
Okay, I'm about to sneeze.
But no, I mean, that's cool for him, because that could hopefully, bless you, help him with his
getting better
jobs, and more pay. That'd be great.
And not sad, but the interesting thing is, even with that made up diploma, he could go to college. We could send him to Calhoun.
Really?
That's what Jessica said.
Huh.
So, and she works in the school system.
Yeah. And so she would know.
Yeah, she would definitely know.
Well, that's cool.
So, yeah, if you're struggling.
Well, then maybe I can be like, oh yeah, he's 17 and he graduated, and so.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you know what? Emancipation.
You have a made up diploma.
You graduated.
You graduated at the House of Franson.
That's right. I will pay to have you emancipated. Yeah. Good luck. Motherfucker.
Well, because he already thinks that, like, he's going to drop out and he's just going to make money. And I'm like, dude, don't work that way. No. You are not. You are going to, if you get, like, if you drop out, you're going to learn it's not easy at all.
Nope. Look at
no
Justin.
matter how many times Mama has told you, because Mama don't know nothing.
Yep.
It's not easy, and then he's gonna resort to stealing. That's my like. I see it.
Yeah.
Because he's already stealing everything.
It's true. It's true.
And I see it in my head that he's going to just life of crime.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's not terribly unusual for ADHD kids to fall into this path.
But I want him to be the exception to the rule.
I realize.
I didn't get diagnosed with ADHD until I was 40.
I realize. But you didn't grow up in the trauma he did either. Yeah.
That's true. But I just...
I know.
It just breaks my heart.
Yeah. And it's frustrating because, like, you can't get him to listen. You can't get him to do anything that he's supposed to do. And, yeah. So
hopefully
it breeds resentment.
Very much so. And I know he already resents me. You know, no other kid has to deal with what I deal with, is what he told me the other night. And I'm like, no other kid is as bad. Like, I mean, I want to say that. Like,
yeah.
You're just mean. He's mean a lot of times.
Agreed.
Grr.
So if, for any of our 15 listeners out there, if you resent your kids,
please let us know so I don't feel so so out of sorts, and that I'm not alone, because no one ever wants to say that sometimes they hate their kids.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do, and I hate to say it. I really do.
Well, yeah, I completely understand.
But
I mean, like, maybe not your mom, but I look back at the things I did to my mom and dad. I'm like, okay, yeah, if they resented me, I could completely understand. But I do think, like, once he is an adult and some time has passed, y'all's feelings will, but it's not, yeah.
We'll see, because he might be like, I fucking hate you.
He might.
You sent me to boarding school. I had to wear a uniform.
He might, but I don't know. I don't, if that's the thing that destroys y'all's relationship, I don't think that would be the thing that destroys your relationship.
I don't think so either. I think him, the fact that I fucking hate him sometimes will destroy our relationship. But
I think if y'all had space, it'd probably get better too.
It's just, it just kills me that he was so good for you.
But he's like that with everybody. Like, he's good for his teachers. He's good for your brother.
But he wasn't good for after school.
Yeah, but it was around a lot of other kids. It's the other kids that got him in trouble.
Yeah,
and same with the bus. He got in trouble with that too.
Many times.
Because of the other kids.
But I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I don't like it at all.
Well, I think that's a good transition spot.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have we been talking enough?
We're at 44 minutes now. So.
Is that good?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. That's usually about where we transition.
Oh, okay.
So for all 15 of our listeners, if you have any funny stories about your kids,
or if you need some bad parenting advice, or if you have any idea for topics,
please email us at guidetopoorparenting@gmail.com. Thanks to Mike and a few other people that have reached out.
Definitely. Thank you, Mike.
Yep. Oh, I put some snack time on there, but
you can say what our snack time was.
Okay. So Jennifer and I were debating what to eat, and I was like, "Do you want to get sushi?" Because we got the sake. She's like, "I just had sushi. I don't want to eat more." It's like, and then we were driving through the Target parking lot, and I got so excited because I saw the Girl Scouts were out.
Y'all should have heard him. He was like, Girl Scouts?
Girl Scouts.
It was so funny.
And I was like, "Oh, Zane's got a couple of boxes of Samoas in her bedroom."
Yeah.
I'll go rate it.
And that's my favorite Girl Scout
I knew
cookies.
That's why I knew. I was like, "Oh, she'll have some Samoas." So we're having some more Samoas, and thanks, Zane.
Thank you, Zane.
And I'll buy you another box because I love you.
Yeah. All right, so we've had our cocktail, our snack time, and it is your time for story time.
Talking about resentment. So I think it was about 2 weeks ago. Zane and I were going to go out to dinner. You had left around. You had come over around 2, I think, to do homework, and then left. And we didn't end up doing dinner with you on a Friday. So I asked Cleo, I was like, "Do you want to go out to dinner with me and Granddad?" And she's like, "No, I'd like to stay here." I was like, "Okay, what would you like?" So she's like a cheeseburger, Burger King. I was like, "Okay,
easy
peasy." So I went and got our Whopper with cheese,
which is a cheeseburger from Burger King.
Yes, and I get back. Zane's not quite ready to leave. So I was like, Kalia, your food's on the counter. I go back to the office and I'm piddling around on the computer and I hear Kalia talking to herself. And when she talks to herself, it's usually incredibly loud.
Very loud.
And I could hear her saying, I didn't want a Whopper. I didn't want, just talking a lot of smack. And I don't know, I guess I was just having a bad day, but I came in there guns blazing. I was screaming at her. I was like, throw the goddamn food away, I didn't call her a bitch, but I was very close to calling her. I was like, you are...
said it in your head.
Oh, God. I was like, you are so ungrateful. Just throw the fucking food away. Mm-hmm. And she started... Oh, I was so mad at her. And I was just screaming. And then... Oh, God, I was so mad. And then the next day, I was like, okay, Kalia, come here. Like, I'm sorry I screamed. I should have handled that better. Please understand that I did you a favor. And what you did was very ungrateful.
And there are kids in Africa who don't even get fucking Burger King, so you better knock that shit out, right?
I was about to say, Wesley doesn't get Burger King from...
No, because he is a McDonald's boy.
Well, also, it's like, there are kids in Alabama your sisters don't get this shit. So.
Right.
But yeah, I apologized to her because I felt bad because I was just, I don't know why it blew me. I just blew up and I was really surprised by my own anger. I was like, why, of all the shitty things she's said or done over the years, I don't know why that one threw me for a loop.
It was just probably a culmination of things.
But she hadn't been bad that week, so I don't know. You're probably right, but
it's everything just kind of coming together, and you heard that, and it was just got right underneath that skin, and you're just like, there are kids in Africa, because that's what we always got. I don't know about you, but I got that a lot growing up. There are kids in Africa who don't even ever get any food. You should be grateful for what you have in your plate.
Well,
but we don't do that shit to our kids.
And I hate to be like, and it makes me feel a bit guilty about it too, but I've told her, it's like, listen, be thankful for what you have. Like, your sisters are not going to get this kind of stuff because your mom, is broke. Like, she's struggling to take care of your sisters. This is why you're not living with her. Because if she had the three of you, y'all be eating, like, ramen, like, 24/7. Because that's all she could afford. Right. So, I didn't say that to her this time, but, You
were thinking it.
And I do feel bad. And she actually apologized too. I was like, you don't have to apologize. It's like, those are probably thoughts you should keep in your brain instead of voicing them, even if you think it's to yourself. And she's like, no, I'm sorry too. Shouldn't have been ungrateful. Like, I appreciate that.
I so want to trade you. I would take Kalia in a heartbeat.
Well, the thing is, I think with Wesley, if we had him for 6 months, he'd probably start doing the same shit to us. The only difference is, I think, though, that, like, we're...
But you're a big guy.
Yeah, like, that's the biggest difference, too. I think, like, I don't ever worry about fearing Wesley. Like, he's not going to do anything. Even when he's a full-grown adult, he'll probably be like Justin, just a twig. And
You think so?
Yeah, I think he's going to look a lot like Justin as he grows up. Just a thin, probably handsome black gentleman, but he's never going to be big.
I gotcha.
He's not going to be tall, and he might be, like, I think he'll be average height and thin.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I also...
He did get in my face the other day.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't get out of my motherfucking face, I'm calling motherfucking Bobo.
Yeah.
Didn't have them F's in there, but they were in my head.
Well, I mean, Gwen had to do that.
She
didn't have to call cops, but...
That's what Justin told me to do.
Justin
just said,
yeah,
you ever feel anything, you just tell him you're going to call the cops.
Yeah.
And if you do, say it, do it.
Yeah. I agree.
Because he's got to learn.
I mean, Gwen had the boys got violent with her a few times, and I was like, you need to just call the cops. I'm like, do not let them do this. Like, this is inappropriate.
Yeah. If he ever tries to put his hands on me, I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to listen to Justin, since Justin was, like, in group homes, and, like, he knows what the kids go through that don't get adopted at 8, since Agreed. He didn't get adopted when he was 7. And so he tells Wesley about this stuff, but Wesley doesn't even want to listen to him.
Well, because he knows best.
Right. But I think I'm just going to try to do what I can, and then...
I think that's all you can do.
Yeah. Y'all got any suggestions? Y'all
hit
me up, please.
I mean, it sucks, but, like, what else can you do?
Yeah, because he's going to get bigger.
No.
Because he's only 13 right now. Right now, I could take his little ass. I'm not scared of him right now.
But give it 3 years.
But I could be, and I don't even want to get to
could
be in.
Yeah.
That's not really a word, but you know what I mean. Like,
you need Big Mama come back and get you all fattened up so you can take them home.
Oh, Big Mama.
Big Mama.
Big Mama come.
All right. Well, this has been fun, Miss Jennifer.
Yes, Mr. Jason, it has.
So thanks for all 15 of our listeners for listening to another episode of Guide to Poor Parenting.
If you like our podcast, please give us a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening on.
And if you don't like our podcast, just like when our kids ask why they're grounded, even though they got kicked out of after school.
Tough shit.
Dumbass. Bye, y'all.
I didn't even read that one. Bye, guys.